After you finish with those 6 things, the 7th layer of security is the mining network. You end up with hundreds of miners that have invested billions, if not tens of billions of dollars in creating these security data centers or security nodes, which we call Bitcoin mines. If we look 20 years out, that probably the cost to secure $100 trillion, well, it might be 50 billion, but that would be 5 basis points of the total value on the network, which makes it the least energy intensive, most efficient technology that we have perhaps discovered ever in the history of the human race. The world generates 160,000 terawatt hours of energy a year. Of that, 50,000 terawatt hours of energy is wasted, like 30%. Of that, 120 terawatt hours is used to run the entire Bitcoin network. To put that in perspective, that's 7.5 basis points of all the energy in the world. The truth of the matter is everything on Earth uses more power than a small country. If you take all the energy used in the Bitcoin network, it amounts to 25 basis points of all the wasted energy. So 0.25% of the wasted energy in the world offers the hope of a decent life to 8 billion people and solves an economic problem. But the 25 basis points is of the wasted energy, because the Bitcoin network is the bidder of last resort for all energy. So if you eliminated Bitcoin from the world and you robbed the billions of people of a decent chance at a decent life, then you wouldn't stop any waste. You're still going to waste 50,000 terawatt hours of energy. If you actually study the Bitcoin network, you'll find that there's about $1 trillion of assets under management. It's secured by about $2 billion worth of energy a year. Call it 20 basis points. 20 basis points of the energy in the network is the cost to secure it. Now, that energy probably costs about 2 cents a kilowatt hour. That's what's being paid for it, maybe. And in many cases, it is literally discarded energy and there is zero value for it. No one would pay anything for it. So its marginal value of the human race is literally zero. Whereas the marginal cost of consumer energy and industrial energy is 9 to 11 or 11 to 13 cents a kilowatt hour. Meanwhile, people that are destitute in the rest of the world have a chance at a decent life using marginal cast-off energy, and anybody would deny them that. If you're concerned about the environment, you're going to focus in on the dirty energy sources, and there's 100x or 1,000x bigger target in a lot of other areas. If you look at the energy consumption of the Bitcoin network, one of the characteristics of the proof of work network is that you only mine Bitcoin in a jurisdiction where the energy is cast off, stranded, or recycled, therefore marginally non-valuable. And you also only mine it in a place where you're politically welcome. So no one's going to set up a coal power plant in the middle of Central Park, Manhattan, and mine Bitcoin because it wouldn't be politically welcome. In fact, in any country where they were to decide that the Bitcoin miners are not welcome because they use energy, the miners are just going to move to a different country. One of the powerful characteristics of the Bitcoin network is the fact that it is constantly decentralizing to the most politically supportive jurisdiction. It's also decentralizing to the place where energy is the least expensive, probably the cleanest renewable energy, but certainly the least expensive energy anywhere in the world. The other thing that happens is the miners are constantly securing the network because they're upgrading the technology all the time. And the miners are, because they're capital intensive, they're raising capital from financiers in each of these political jurisdictions. And the combination of those things means that wherever mining's not welcome, it's going to move. And wherever it moves to, it's going to be by definition welcome. And it's going to be very harmonious with the energy grid. So I don't really think that the energy usage of Bitcoin represents a threat. I actually think the opposite, which is the energy usage of a proof of work crypto asset network creates 7 layers of security to the asset, which are absolutely critical The first layer of security is they co-opt all of the energy producers worldwide to support the network, because you can sell energy at about 45 to 50 cents a kilowatt hour to the network. It's the highest value use of energy in the world, and anybody can plug into it. So that's very powerful. The second is it co-ops the technology producers. People are producing these SHA-256 ASICs, like the S19 miners. And that means all of the technology companies are continually building better equipment that's more energy efficient. The third is it co-ops politicians, like the governor of Texas. There's no way the governor of Texas would be supporting Bitcoin except for the fact that Bitcoin mines in Texas are creating jobs and bringing tax revenues to Texas, and they're providing massive revenues to Texas energy producers. The fourth is it co-ops Wall Street, because Wall Street's financing all of these Bitcoin miners in a big way. And you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of multi-billion-dollar entities that are financing them. The fifth is it makes the security temporal. It takes 24 to 48 months to actually create a material Bitcoin mining operation. So if you wanted to attack the network, you've got to do it over the course of 36 months without 250 million people figuring out that you're going to do it. And then it also decentralizes it spatially, because you can't locate all of the Bitcoin mining in the world in one spot, because you can't get enough energy in the one spot. And so you've got a natural spatial decentralization. After you finish with those six things, the seventh layer of security is the mining network. You end up with hundreds of miners that have invested billions, if not tens of billions of dollars in creating these security data centers or security nodes, which we call Bitcoin mines. And they've got so much vested interest in running the network. They've all got the support of their local politicians, their local governments. They're going to defend the network. There are two more dynamics very important. One, if I had $1 billion of gold in Manhattan, you'd be relying upon the mayor of New York City and the governor of New York and the country of the United States to secure your gold. But if you have $1 billion of Bitcoin in Manhattan, the security comes from a decentralized set of nodes in other jurisdictions, not even in the US. And even if the US, the mayor, and the governor attacked your money, you end up with someone in Iceland or Finland or China or Iran or Iraq or someplace in some cyberspace you can't even find that's defending your money. And so that's a very, very powerful idea. The revenue and the block rewards in the Bitcoin network are falling every 4 years. So by the year 2035, 99% of the Bitcoin's been mined. And that means that the network starts to run only on transaction fees.